This is the AM News. Now, the University Teachers Association of Ghana has declared an indefinite strike effective today, the 10th of October 2024, following an overwhelming vote in favor of industrial action to support a nationwide ban on mining and protecting activities in ecological sensitive areas. The decision, backed by 77.95% of Utag members across 15 branches, underscores the association's firm stance on protecting the environment from destructive mining practices. In a referendum organized by Utag's National Executive Council, 2,153 out of 2,762 members voted yes in support of the strike, calling for an immediate halt to mining in forest reserves, farmlands and water bodies. Only 607 members opposed the strike, with just 2 abstaining. This outcome, described by the National Executive Council as, quote, a decisive mandate, unquote, has set the stage for Utag's indefinite industrial action across all its branches. Now, in a statement released by the NEC, the association highlighted its members' strong resolve to safeguard the environment. Now, despair, anger and disappointment on one hand and a huge sigh of relief on the other hand is a summary of the general mood in Ghana right now after organized labor, which is seen as the last bastion of hope, abruptly calls off its highly anticipated nationwide strike in the 11th hour. This has left the country on the edge over the unchecked devastation caused by illegal mining. Organized labor arrived at a decision after a meeting between labor unions and government. 3 key demands were made by organized labor, including a declaration of a state of emergency on mining in river and water bodies, revocation of LI 2642, which allows mining in forest reserves, and a ban on small-scale mining. But labor says it is satisfied with government-enhanced measures.
Organized labor is still divided even after leadership of TUC has announced that the intended strike action from Thursday, October 10, has been suspended. The decision was taken after close to 2 hours of deliberation amongst leadership of the various labor unions. First, listen to Secretary General of the TUC, Joshua Ansah, announcing the decision to call off the strike.
Yesterday, October 8, 2024, the government team met with the leadership of organized labor and Ghana Employers Association. Following this meeting, government offered enhanced and time-bound measures in respect of our demands and the fight against illegal mining. Organized labor has therefore decided to suspend the intended strike action. We are calling all workers to report for work on 10th of October 2024 and beyond.
The coalition of concerned teachers led by King Ali Audu says they are satisfied with the proposals put forth by government.
As we speak, we are left with 2 months into December elections. By the time the state will go through the processes of declaring a state of emergency, we may have gotten closer to elections. And when the state of emergency is declared also around that time, it is going to even affect the 7th December elections. You don't know the areas in this country where the state of emergency will be declared.
But you knew this before you made a call.
Yeah, we knew this before we made the call because we wanted to achieve certain things. The major thing we want to achieve was the revocation of the LI that allow mining in our forest reserve, and we have achieved just that.
But Utag president for the University of Ghana, Professor Ransford Jampo, is livid with the decision of the TUC to call off this strike.
Clearly, no deadlines. Some of us were even, we even wanted to be given the opportunity to say that, well, if this is the route to go, then let us even subject government to strict deadlines. They said they will not let us talk.
Does that suggest that even in the meeting you were not allowed to bring?
In the meeting, we were not. I mean, I made my first point. Others, a few people spoke, and if you are speaking, then the chairman gets up and says he doesn't want you to talk. And so if you want to make further suggestions, we didn't finish the meeting and they call you guys to be to join the meeting. You do not call a meeting and then go with a prepared speech. Otherwise, no, prepared speech that are conclusive. No, the speech has its own conclusion. We had not spoken. We had not discussed. And then you came and then when we had not even discussed it, so we are calling off the strike. On what basis? What was the basis? It means you sat in the comfort of your bedroom with the politician who manipulated you to come and read this to us. I mean, they have people they can manipulate, but not some of us.
So as it stands now, the nationwide indefinite strike action that was proposed by the Trade Union Congress on behalf of the organized labor has been called off, but the discussion still holds as to whether the various labor unions will still proceed on this, contrary to the decision of organized labor. From the TUC headquarters here in Accra, James Aveji reporting for Joy News.
Well, so no strike today. Moving on, the Ghana Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics dietitians is warning that illegal mining, popularly known as Galamsey, is severely impacting the country's nutrition. Speaking at the 9th Nutrition Conference, President of the Academy, Professor Kingsley Kojo Asare-Preko, highlighted the leaching of chemicals from Galamsey operations into water bodies, which is affecting quality of fish, food crops, and land use for agricultural production. He emphasized the urgent need to stop illegal mining to prevent future nutritional crisis, especially for the poor and vulnerable who cannot afford to import water. There's more in this report.
Speaking at the 9th Nutrition Conference that offered a rallying ground to think about the development of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, President of the Ghana Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, Professor Kingsley Kojo Asare-Preko, bemoaned how Galamsey is affecting the food crops the country depends on.
The outcome of this conference, basically one is to come up with a position on the state of our nutrition in the changing world, and importantly also to bring up evidence that could also guide policy discussions and programming for nutrition in Africa. Right, the Galamsey has a lot to do on our nutrition. First of all, there's some leaching of these chemicals that are used in this business of Galamsey into our water bodies that affects our fish, that affects our land, that affects the production that we get from in our foods. It is very important that we stop this matter now to save the future. Importantly, its effect on our water bodies is something that is very, very alarming. Very few people can grapple with buying water from imported water. Even what we are producing in this country, we find it difficult to buy. And so this aspect of this destruction that is happening on our water bodies is something that we should be very concerned, because these chemicals that are used in mining also have very debilitating effect on children, most especially mothers, and also on our well-being. Its effect we can see in the changing situations that we have in our time. People dying before their time, the surge in non-communicable diseases could all be attributed to that. Children who are born out of deformities are all situations that we are grappling with because of some of these challenges that Galamsey brings to us. Right? I will appeal to the government to be very firm in stopping the Galamsey menace now to save us a lot in the future that is ahead of us.
Speaking on behalf of the Vice Chancellor of the University of Cape Coast, Professor Martin Eko spoke about the challenges posed by climate change and challenged the scientists to do more.
It is important to iterate that we stand at a critical juncture in our global food systems. In today's rapidly changing world, our food systems face unprecedented challenges. The challenges posed by climate change, rapid urbanization, economic instability, public health crisis, and shifting dietary patterns necessitate a transformative approach to nutrition and food security.
Representing the Central Regional Minister was Blessed Kwame Dake. He indicated government commitment to transforming food systems and improving nutrition in the country.
The government is mindful of the numerous challenges attributed to the food system faced by our dear country, and for that matter, has been making significant strides in transforming food systems and improving nutrition. Among these are the Ghana Commercial Agriculture Project, GCAP, and Food System Resilience Project, FSRP2.
Participants at the 2024 Nutrition Conference outlined measures to improve food security and safeguard nutrition.
In other stories, the Minister for Agriculture, Dr. Brian Champong, has disclosed that government has commenced the distribution of fertilizer and farm inputs to farmers who are affected by this year's dry spell. He said 118,000 metric tons of fertilizer and 5,133 metric tons of seed would be distributed to about 800 smallholder farms. The minister's speech, which was read by the Deputy Minister for Agriculture, Hadi Tuferu, said farmers cropping under 2 acres and commercial farmers are beneficiaries of this package. He said this at a town hall meeting organized by the Information Ministry held in Tamale.
The Tamale Town Hall meeting, organized by the Ministry of Information in collaboration with the Regional Coordinating Council, created a platform to account to the people of the region government's infrastructure project, social interventions, and also highlighted government achievements so far. It offered people the opportunity to also ask questions. Speaking at the event, Deputy Minister for Agriculture, Hadi Tuferu, said commercial farmers would also benefit from the package.
We have since conducted an extensive audit and analysis of the situation and mobilized government resources, secure approval of Parliament, and support from the World Bank and the development partners. We have also secured grains and provided a food availability assurance audit, and we can assure the nation that our current food system is safe. 20,000 metric tons of fertilizer to commercial farmers nationwide. So it is not only smallholder farmers, commercial farmers stands to benefit.
Deputy Minister for Finance, Dr. Alex Ampabin, said 500 million have been approved to deal with the impact of the dry spell.
The ministry came out with an 8.2 million Ghana cedi budget. So the Ministry of Finance had to do a budget realignment, reallocating certain lines in order to accommodate for the contingency that faced us. We've also been able to get Parliament approval for 500 million from the contingency fund. In addition to this, we've also gotten the support of the the World Bank on a $150 million repurpose project. And there are other partners who are undertaking their own activity to support their own intervention, or working in other capacity with the ministry. The Ministry of Finance is working collaboratively with the Ministry of Agric in supporting our farmers, pegging an amount of around 1,000 Ghana cedi per hectare.
The Minister for Information, Fatima Abubakar, said she was excited to be in the region.
That is filled with so much joy. When I was informed that when we checked the itinerary, we are supposed to come to Tamale, I said, this is homecoming for me. We know the disparity that we've experienced over a long period of time when it comes to development. And I'm excited that all the good work that President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia have given the good people of the northern region will be on display today through the exhibition and also through the Honorable Regional Minister's presentation.
The Northern Regional Minister, Shani Alhassan Shaibu, highlighted some development projects executed in the area.
Provision of school infrastructure, recruitment and training of teachers, and the implementation of technology-driven education. These have helped to improve the quality of teaching and learning in our schools. 593 JHS public schools, 155 private JHS schools, giving us a total of 748 JHS schools. I'm happy to announce that the northern region topped the transition statistics in the country with a 98% rate under the free senior high school policy.
The Ghana Boundary Commission has revealed that it has reaffirmed 350 kilometers of the country's land boundary with Togo, targeting more than 100 kilometers of work before the end of the year. Speaking at a joint meeting between the Ghana Boundary Commission and the Togo Boundary Commission in the Togolese capital, Lomé, Commissioner General of the Ghana Boundary Commission, Major General Emmanuel Nketia, said reaffirmation exercises are important for maintaining security along Ghana's international borders. Boundary reaffirmation exercises involve the replacement of destroyed or worn-out boundary pillars to help clearly define boundaries.
The Ghana Boundary Commission works to ensure that Ghana's land, maritime and air boundaries are effectively secured and managed. The meeting in Togo brought together personnel from the Ghana Boundary Commissions of Togo and Ghana. The main objective of the meeting was the continuation of the reaffirmation exercise on the international land boundary line between Ghana and Togo. Speaking at the opening ceremony, Commissioner General of the Ghana Boundary Commission, Major General Emmanuel Nketia, revealed that the Ghana Boundary Commission has reaffirmed 350 kilometers of the country's land boundary with Togo, targeting more than 100 kilometers of work before the year ends.
So far, as I mentioned, we have done about 350 kilometers of reaffirmation. We've gone through 4 phases. It has been a long way, and the technical teams are well prepared to continue with the exercise starting from tomorrow if possible. Envisaging that we'll come up with timelines when at least we should have some a distance of not less than 200 kilometers reaffirmed by the end of the year. We also, the second part is that we also want the construction of the boundary pillars to resume by the Togolese contractor, and then the Ghana contractor also start the construction of the boundary pillars from 150 kilometers up north. In all, we think that the technical committee should be able to meet immediately to resume this work as soon as possible.
Major General Emmanuel Nketia says the two commissions will work together to ensure that their land, maritime and air boundaries are effectively secured and managed.
The cooperation has been very good. Togo, for instance, has transited from one leadership to another leadership while this has been going on. And the transition has been very good because the new leadership of the Land Boundary Commission of Togo have been very cooperative, just like the first one. And I think that the zeal and the exuberance that the new leadership has brought is even going to help us to accelerate the work that we're doing along the international boundary line. We were hoping that by the end of this year, we would have even reached up, we would have gone up to the northeast region of Ghana, in line with our objective that we were doing. But because of the suspension since April, we're hoping that we should be able to catch up with not less than 200 kilometers so that we would see what we can do and continue with this project. Otherwise, the funding that we're getting from GIZ, we may be losing it altogether because GIZ have provided funding for this year for both the reaffirmation and the construction of the pillars.
Togo's Minister of Territorial Administration, Decentralization, Security and Civil Protection, who spoke in French, applauded the two boundary commissions, urging them to continue to work harmoniously for the good of both countries.
Let's get into our election headquarters and do some stories. The national chairman of the National Democratic Congress, Asiedu Nketia, has indicated that his party would win the Hohoe Constituency seat in the December 7th parliamentary elections. According to him, the electorates have identified that the New Patriotic Party failed to fulfill the promises that lured them to vote for their parliamentary candidates and hence would return to the NDC. Mr. Nketia said this when he kicked off his campaign tour of the Volta region in the Hohoe Constituency.
The NDC lost the Hohoe parliamentary seat to the NPP in 2020, where John Peter Amewu beat Professor Margaret Kweku with about 5,000 votes. It was the only seat the NPP won out of the 18 in the Volta region. However, the NDC has staged a massive comeback for the Hohoe parliamentary seat. The national chairman of the NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, expressed optimism of the opposition party winning back the Hohoe seat during the campaign tour in the constituency.
Hohoe is coming back to NDC, and NDC is going to move Hohoe to the next level. Hohoe is potentially Kumasi in the east. And the game changer is the Western Corridor, Eastern Corridor Road. The game changer is the Eastern Corridor Road.
The Hohoe NDC parliamentary candidate, Wolanyo Chekpo, entreated the electorate to vote for him as their next member of parliament, as he has already begun implementing his development agenda for the constituency. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Hohoe.
Coming up next is Business Update with Benjamin Akakpo.
Thank you for staying. Now, the National Petroleum Authority is assuring consumers of enough supplies of LPG, despite concerns being raised by the Marketers Association over what it describes as some bureaucracy in the petroleum sector. The marketers had warned of a possible shortage of the product due to the current state of LPG reserves in the country and challenges with new rules for importing domestic gas. But reacting to the matter, Communications Manager of the MPA, Mohammed Abdul Kudus, maintains there is enough supply to meet demand.
I have two sources to this particular product. One is the local source that is coming from Atwabo. Then we have another that we import into the country. Atwabo has not shut down. There is a challenge in the quantity of volume that we are expecting from Atwabo. The understanding we've had from Atwabo is that hopefully by next week they would have gone back to the full production that they used to do. And that can help in the artificial shortage that we are currently witnessing from the enclave of the western part of this country. What is happening is that the procedure was to be loading for the people within a particular enclave to pick the product from around the Atwabo. But because of that inability to have the expected production, we've now actually exempted the cross-zonalization clause, so people can now come to Tema. So BRVs can come to Tema and lift the product and send them to the western region so that consumers out there can get it. So the issue that we see in western region is artificial. It is not something that is of national character at all. And like I said from the beginning, we have more than enough in the country to meet the demands of the people. The issue is just about a certain technicality around distribution. That is as a result of the reduction in the volumes that we were expecting from Atwabo.
Now, the Ghana Union of Traders Association is asking the Energy Commission to be heavy on its public sensitization programs to educate consumers on energy-related issues. According to the president of the association, Dr. Joseph Obeng, this will help to promote awareness and demand for renewable energy sources and energy-efficient products among Ghanaians. He was speaking at the launch of the 2024 Ghana Power and Energy Expo.
The consuming public is not even aware it shouldn't be that we bring technical requirement only for the importer, but then we should also educate the final consumer on the new trend of what is required of us. Because how is the final consumer going to know that this product consumes less energy? I think this is the way to go. That's what Energy Commission is working very hard on. But I think the consumer education is lacking. And that's why I will need Energy Commission in the next meeting, so that at least we can also tell the exhibitors the new trend that the nation requires, what the nation requires, because we don't have to bring the obsolete. Sometimes they will bring the obsolete that is not being used in the advanced nations and fund destination in Africa and elsewhere. We do not require that.
Well, that's how we cap off the business updates together with the news proper.